Karen shoved my grandma into a pond, didn't know she owns half the property. You ever watch someone shove your 86-year-old grandma into a pond and then act like she was the victim? Yeah, that actually happened. And I hope you're sitting down, because what comes next might have you screaming into a pillow. Let's rewind. My name's Leah. I'm 29. I work in municipal records, and I've been living with my grandma Evelyn in Dandridge Commons ever since I left my ex and needed a reset. She's my rock. No nonsense. Lipstick every morning kind of woman. Widow. Tougher than she looks. The kind of lady who still bakes pies with real lard and calls social media the world's loudest diary. She's also one of the original landowners of Dandridge Commons. Yup. Back when this whole neighborhood was nothing but overgrown farmland and old fishing trails, Evelyn and her late husband donated over 11 acres of their estate to the city for residential development, with the agreement that a certain portion, including the pond, would remain public access, protected from resale, and partially under her oversight through a private deed clause. It's literally named after her in the original papers. Ross Pond. Her signature's on the founding documents. She's got the framed copies above our fireplace. But apparently, Karen didn't do her homework. Karen moved in last year. HOA president within 3 months. Wears a polo shirt with a self-stitched name patch like she's running a theme park. Started trying to beautify the area, which really meant kicking out anyone she didn't like. First she banned bird feeders. Then she restricted bench-sitting hours. Then came the war on ducks, claiming they were aggressive freeloaders. Then she came for Grandma. It happened during one of Grandma's morning walks. She goes out at sunrise, feeds the ducks near the pond with oats from a recycled jam jar, and sits on the same bench her husband built 40 years ago. That morning, I was running late and didn't go with her. That's when Karen struck. I heard the splash before I even turned the corner. A jogger was already calling 911. I saw my grandma in the pond, soaked from the waist down, her purse floating beside her, and Karen stood there on the grass, arms crossed, muttering. She was trespassing. I asked her to move. She refused. Let me tell you something. There's a sound your throat makes when shock meets rage. Mine was somewhere between a growl and a scream. I jumped in, helped Grandma out, wrapped my hoodie around her. Her hands were shaking. Her voice was calm, though too calm. She looked Karen dead in the eye and said, "Young lady, you just assaulted the woman who owns this pond." Karen laughed. "What? You think you're special because you're old?" That was her last mistake. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the PDF, Grandma's deed, parcel overlays, zoning code, the exact clause that states she maintains 49% property rights to the pond and surrounding greenbelt, including rights to revoke HOA use if abused. I showed it to the cops, showed it to the city rep. And while Karen stood there trying to spin some wild story about disruptive feeding behavior, they were already taking witness statements, including a retired judge who just happened to be walking his Labradoodle nearby. Karen was cited for assault on a senior citizen, reckless endangerment, and willful property interference. But that's just the beginning. The video of the aftermath hit Nextdoor, then Facebook, then the local news. Grandma in her soaked cardigan, raising a shaky hand to say, "I'll be all right. It's the ducks I'm worried about." That clip went insanely viral. Over 6 million views. People started calling her Grandma Ross of Ross Pond. Folks dropped off flowers, homemade jam, even duck-shaped cookies. One guy made a song about it. You don't push a queen into her own pond. It slaps. HOA emergency vote happened within 5 days. Karen removed by a 94% margin. The only 3 votes against were Karen, her husband, and some guy who accidentally hit the wrong button. Now there's a new plaque on that bench that says, "In honor of Evelyn M., Ross landowner, pond guardian, neighborhood legend, and Karen." She sold her house quietly. 2 weeks later, no goodbye, no remorse. Just one badly folded HOA newsletter left in her mailbox with the headline, "Don't mess with the ducks or the deeds." So, your turn was Karen just drunk on power? Or is this what happens when ignorance meets arrogance? And should HOAs even exist on land they didn't build? Drop your thoughts below. Grandma says to remind you, read the fine print before you push someone into a pond. The end.